Yo, what's up guys? It's Yellowfin, and in this video I am going to be going over the two-tone carbon fiber pack now. So, last episode was on the horror show carbon fiber, and it was a pretty mid-tier pack. It wasn't anything special, it wasn't really anything to go for, but there were a few not too bad cars in it. Now this pack, however, there is a lot of great stuff in it, and I'm going to be going through it right now. So, starting off with the first car, Subaru Forester GT Turbo. It is going to be a car that is not really a special one that you'd really hope for from getting from this pack. Same goes for the Peugeot 208 GTI. They're either cars you're going to max it out if you need it for the challenge, or it's most likely going to be fuse material. Same kind of for the Ford Escape. Every time I've unpacked it, it's always been fuse material for me. It is decently light, along with the Forester as well. They're both not that heavy, but still, I haven't found really very much use for either of them. And if you don't need them in the challenge to max out, they're not going to be that useful in the future. And that's sort of what I'm talking about with this pack right now, because the challenge isn't out yet. So what I'm going to be talking about is which pack you want to go for if you have to choose like one of the tags, if you don't have like enough resources to go for all three of the tags when the carbon fiber packs come out. So you're kind of deciding which one you should like really go for and really choose. Like with me, it's two-tone, which is the pack I'm reviewing right now, which is where I'm going to go all in and open up all the carbon fibers for that tag. And I'm basically just explaining also which cars you can get from this pack that'll be the most useful in the future. Because we don't know, the Subaru Forester could be the most key car in this challenge. It'll be the #1 car you need. But I'm going over this pack for in the future, after the challenge, which cars will be the most useful. And the next one, the Nissan Pulsar Nismo Concept, is a great one to have. It's a very useful one in clubs with the medium ground clearance. Also, it has performance tires, so usually when clubs is rain, you can actually use it compared to all the slick tire front-wheel drive slick tire cars I have, which I can't use then. So the Nissan Pulsar Nismo Concept is also JPT too, and it's got the concept tag, which medium ground clearance concept cars, there aren't too many of them at least that I've noticed, but there could be a few good ones. But I know there is some good ones, but having medium ground clearance ones, especially when there's a concept event, usually they do like to throw in some city streets in there. This is not too bad of a car to have, so this one is definitely a keeper that if you get it from the pack. T-Fair Griffith 200 and Mini John Cooper Works are both, and also the Bentley Mulsanne extended wheelbase, I would say, in my opinion, are usually fuse material. I've fused all of them away, I'm pretty sure, when I've gotten them before. None of them, I think, have any significant stuff, at least that I know of, that make them good, but that's just as I know of so far. Maybe if one of you guys have them and it's actually been a really useful car to you guys, but I don't think any three of these three are perfect examples of a fuse material car if you get it from the pack. Now, the Lancia Delta S4 Stradale from 1985 is actually a great one because it's from 1985. Now, there is the yellow Lancia, which basically beats it everywhere, but that one I'm pretty sure is a 90s car. This one's from the 80s, so it fits into a completely different spectrum of Italian cars, which there aren't any of the other Lancias to compete with it, besides I think the Super Rare one. So this one's actually a great one to have then, and definitely a keeper. It's basically on a similar level of usefulness along with the yellow Lancia. Dodge Charger Daytona, it's a car like similar to the Spikers in the last video that I said. It'll just get the job done if you have it maxed out. It's not like a instant fuse, but it's also not like an instant max out if you get it. It's sort of one of those cars in the middle that just aren't that bad anywhere. It's just a good all-rounder to have. Chevy Corvette Grand Sport. This one is one I've been wanting for a while, so I might be a little biased about it, but I think this is a pretty strong car. This is one that I'd recommend probably maxing out. Does go up to 94 handling, I think 4.20 to 60. Decently high top speed, also 90s car. And it's a American car too, which American cars, there aren't too many that have like super good handling that goes up into like 94 unless you have one of the Acura NSXs, or I guess the Dodge Circuit EV. But I'd say the Chevy Corvette Grand Sport is a pretty nice one to keep. Audi S2 Coupe, on the other hand, is awful. Used to have it maxed out at 323, and as you can see, I don't have it anymore because I sold it. It is a bad car. It is fuse material unless you need it for the challenge. It's just not a great car at all. Renault Sport Megane 275 Trophy R, on the other hand, is an amazing car. Front-wheel drive performance tires, maxes out with 98 handling at 233. 323 also works as a tune for it as well. Medium ground clearance and decently light. And so this makes it a insanely good car, especially that handling. That handling definitely helps a lot, especially if you plan on playing front-wheel drive club events or just French events in general. The 98 handling is an insanely good boost, and I use it all the time in a bunch of events. Bentley Grand Convertible is similar to the Dodge Charger Daytona. especially if you already have like the Blue Train or the Butter car, the two RQ63 medium ground clearance Bentleys. Then this car isn't that useful, but it's like the Charger Daytona. There are better options to it, but it's not the worst. It's not the worst car to have. Suzuki C2 is an amazing car to have, one that was released in the new update. Insanely light, 90s car, really good 0 to 60, one of the best 0 to 60s actually for an ultra rare, and maxes out with 91 handling at 2 through 3. I've gotten also a lot of use out of it, similar to the Renault Sport Megane. It is a very useful one, plus a great RQ saver, especially if you plan on playing clubs. Subaru Impreza Gravel Express and the Mini JCW All-4 Countryman, I'm just going to group them together because I have had experience with the JCW All-4 Countryman, and I'll say this car is a hairpin road beast because it's very lightweight and it is insanely good at the hairpin road. I've beat Legendaries with this, I've beat Epics with this. Its lightweight that it has helps it amazingly. It also, the lightweight helps a lot on slalom tests too, especially if it's limited to four-wheel drive all-surface tires or like SUVs where you can't use rally cars. This is basically going to help you if you need an ultra-rare rally car then, because it does only max out to 79 handling, but it goes to 5.40 to 60, but the lightweight definitely helps a lot. And the Subaru Impreza Gravel Express is basically a Japanese version of it. I haven't gotten much use with the Subaru Impreza Gravel Express because it's a new update car and I just maxed out mine recently, but looking at the stats-wise, it just looks like a similar version to the Mini JCW All-4 Countryman. Nissan Bluebird SSR U12 is an insanely great car because it has the four-wheel drive off-road tires niche, with it also being a rally car. And now that, there is usually four-wheel drive off-road tire rally cars, mostly all of them are prize cars, but this one actually isn't. And it has similar stats to the RQ69 Ford Raptor, but it's medium ground clearance and it has better top speed. Plus, it's also from the 80s as well too, which gives it a bit of a boost. I actually have two of them, and both of them have been really useful. One's at 1 star, one's at stock. But even the stock one, the 1-star version beats the RQ64 maxed out Lancia 037 Rally on a lot of tracks, and that's just my 1-star version. My car doesn't even have ETB, and it still beats it on a lot of tracks. Then the Subaru Forester XT Turbo SG, it's got the new Japan Pro Tour tag, which adds a bit to it. And it's not too bad of a car. It's actually a really lightweight SUV. And it's 2000s car. It has its little niche area, but it's not really the greatest car. It's sort of like the JCW All-4 Countryman. It's just a car. If you have it maxed out, it'll do you good. Then the Spiker C8 Lav Relay LM85. This is the only ultra rare that I'd say, not ultra rare, epic that I'd say might be fuse material. Unless you don't have a Spiker, then this one is probably going to be fuse material if you pull it from the pack. It might be useful in the challenge, especially because it has that top speed to back it up, and it will probably be a useful one on the drag strip. But outside of that, there are just so many better Spikers that have much better use compared to it that maxing it out isn't really worth it. Abarth 124 Spider Rally is not too bad of a car. Rear-wheel drive slick tires. It's similar to the Abarth 030, but it's an epic, so it takes a bit more to max out. But maxed out, it is not that bad of a car at all. It's got really strong 0 to 60, 85 handling, so maxes out on 95 at 2 through 3. So definitely not one to complain about if you get it from the pack. KTM Expo, it's just a lesser version of the RQ79 KTM Expo, I think. It's RQ79. It's just a lesser version of it, but still, if you get a KTM Expo, it's going to be very useful. It's going to help you a lot, especially on stuff that's to do with grip, because it's very lightweight and will max out at 101 handling. So still, similar to the Abarth 124 Spider Rally, they're both good cars, and you definitely can't really complain about getting them, because even if you have to max them out, they'll be pretty useful maxed out in the future. DS Serval, sort of in the same boat. It's not that great of a car because, well, it is a good car, but the thing is with the DS Serval, you don't get very much use out of it because it's a French car and we don't have very many French cars in general. The DS Numero 9 is a pretty useful one as well, but it does have around 70 MRA and it does max out at 99 handling, I think 3.90 to 60, so it's not that bad of a car as well. It is. Plus that four-wheel drive will definitely help. So if you have to max out in the challenge, it's one not to complain about having it maxed out because it does have some really good stats maxed out. It's just you might not get as much use out of it compared to the Ford Mustang GTR or the Bentley Bentayga Diesel. But it is a car to be happy about if you get it from the pack, similar to the KTM. It's sort of got the KTM, it sort of has the KTM, like, what's the word? KTM effect to it. Like KTMs, you don't really get to use them in very many events. Same kind of goes for the DS Serval. We don't really have any DS specific events, and when you're using it in other stuff, there's always going to be a bit better options. So yeah, that's kind of how I sort of put it like that. But let's just move on to the Ford Mustang GTR concept. It's basically the lesser version of the two other slick tire Mustangs, but still, it's an amazing car. Reaches 100 handling for a Ford, also for an American car too. Just getting to that 100 handling mark on most American Epics is pretty useful, because that 100 handling is definitely going to help you a lot. Bentley Bentayga Diesel is probably the best Epic you can get from this pack. It's an amazing car. This is one of the reasons why I'm going to be opening up the carbon fibers when they come out, and I would be very happy if I got one. So, Epics, there's a lot of good ones. Only bad Epic really is the Spiker C8 Lav Relay. Other Epics, if you get any of them really, there isn't really much to complain about them. They're all rather strong Epics that have very good areas that they are good in. The three that I'd say are the ones to most hope for: Bentayga Diesel, Mustang GTR Concept, and the Bluebird SSSR. And then these other four as well are also not too bad of cars. If you have them maxed out, you'll definitely get some use out of them in the future. And then the Legendaries now, I'm going to say it, all 6 of these Legendaries are, I'll say amazing. All 6 of these are amazing Legendaries to have. Now some of them might be a bit lesser under amazing, but overall, if you get one of these Legendaries from a pack, you're definitely going to be getting your use out of it. Starting with the Acura DNX, it is a saloon Legendary, which gives it its niche, also has 4 seats in it as well. And it's American Frontier, 2000s car, and it definitely is, oops, I just smacked the mic, my bad. It definitely gives you your use for being an RQ84 with the 4-wheel drive performance tires. I've seen a lot of these maxed out, and they all, I think they maxed out at 3.297, which isn't, it's not like the best stats, but for it having its saloon niche, it definitely is a pretty useful one, but it's more on the lower end of, the Legendaries you can get from this pack. Porsche 911 GT3 RS is a great handling car. You don't really want to use it too much on the fast stuff against the other legendary Porsche that have MRA, like my 911 GT2 RS, because it'll beat it on the fast areas, but on the twisty areas maxed out, it does beat my maxed out 911 GT2 RS. So this definitely is a very useful one to have. Maxes out at 103 handling. It's got some great 0 to 60 to back it up as well. Now this Bentley Continental 24, you're probably wondering, unless you already know, why I call this Bentley amazing. Well, it's actually one of, I'd probably say, the best 4-wheel drive performance tires Bentley. That's, I guess, not the medium flying spur, because I guess that has a bit of use to it since it's medium, but it has 90 MRA on it. And now most legendary Bentleys have around in the 70s, while this Bentley actually goes up to 90 MRA, which basically makes it a killer against all the other 4-wheel drive performance tire Bentleys that aren't prize cars, because it has the MRA to actually back up its mediocre stats. Peugeot Onyx is just an insanely, it's basically just a rear-wheel drive version of the Peugeot Oxia, and the Peugeot Oxia is a great car. So, definitely helps it out a lot that it has some crazy good MRA and some crazy good 0 to 60 to back it up, and the handling's not too bad at 89. 911 GT2 RS is just a version of my maxed out 911 GT2 RS, but like multiple times better. Maxes out at like 2.2, 103 I think, great MRA, RQ93, which is pretty low RQ for, I'd say, for being a car with great MRA, great 0 to 60, and great handling, but it's that rear-wheel drive that's helping it out a lot, since it doesn't have 4-wheel drive then, so it doesn't get the 4-wheel drive RQ boost. This is an amazing car, probably the best legendary you can get from the pack, and then there's also Bugatti just to throw into the pack as well, because why not? We also got a Bugatti in the pack. So yeah, that's the reason why I'm going to be opening up this pack, because there is a lot of great cars, and especially some that I'd be missing. Any legendary that you get from this pack, it's going to give you a lot of use out of it. You either get like the best Bentley that has actual MRA, you get an amazing Porsche, you get a Bugatti if you get that lucky, Peugeot Onyx, which is just a rear-wheel drive version of the Oxia, 911 GT3 RS, which is a great handling car, and the Acura DNX, which is a very useful car when it has its niche. So, and then some great epics as well, only one that's really fused, and a lot of good ultra rares that are definitely key if you unpack them. So yeah, two-tone, I'd say, is a great pack to go through if you're deciding like which one to save up for, or which one you want to go for in the challenge. There's also the prize cars. We don't know what the prize cars are yet. Like, it could be like an RQ80 prize car, but still, I'm just going to go for it just for the pack, because this is an amazing pack to open, I'd say. So yeah, that's basically going to conclude it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this type of content, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all that cool stuff. I'm Yellowfin. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.